What's going on, ladies and germs? My name is Dave McRae. Welcome to Saturday Night Chitchat. It is Saturday, July the 6th, 2019, and it is 8:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here live from Toronto. And I thought I would jump on and just talk to you guys, see how you guys are doing. You like my shirt? I love this fucking shirt, man. Devil's Music, sing along. Oh, I love it. I love it. If I look a little sort of flushed, it's just because I got out of the shower because I just got back from my run. So I might look a little flushed in the face, but that's why. So, before we begin Saturday movie night, Saturday night chit chat, I just want to, that little thing that you saw there at the beginning with the ringing phone, I just want to once again announce, because maybe there's some people in the chat room that are unaware or that didn't watch my video from a couple of days ago. I have entered development with my buddy Bruce Dale, who's a filmmaker here in Toronto as well. We've known each other nearly 30 years. We've just recently entered into development to do a Black Christmas fan film, a legit Black Christmas fan film, not something that's just 1 or 2 minutes long, something that is legit. And when I mean legit, I'm talking about not something that's approved by Blumhouse, but I mean something that is in terms of production value and going through all the processes that you go through when you make a movie. And it's taking what I did with The Night He Came Back, but taking it even to the next level, way beyond that. So we're really excited about it. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do it was because, believe it or not, there are very little, if at all, any Black Christmas fan films online. Now, that's not surprising given the fact that Black Christmas sort of slips under the radar. Because it's a Canadian movie. There's still a lot of people, even though it's very well known sort of deep within the horror genre, there's still a lot of people that are not aware of it or have yet to see it. And I'm not talking about the 2006 film, I'm talking about the original from 1974. So when it was first released, the critics weren't too crazy on it, but it's since become a cult classic, and it's pretty much universally acclaimed by those in the horror genre. But it's not one that people really think to do fan films about. It never had a series of films. It was not it didn't have a bunch of sequels. It wasn't a big thing. It was just that one movie in 1974 and then the remake in 2006, and that's it. And of course there's another remake coming, or reimagining coming, from Blumhouse this December. I was going to say October. This December. So, there is a plethora of Halloween fan films online, of Friday the 13th fan films online, of Scream and Elm Street and Star Wars and Star Trek, but none for Black Christmas. There's Black Christmas fan trailers and fan cut things and things like that, but there's no fan films. So that was one of the reasons why we wanted to do that. Because it's also a Canadian movie, and we're Canadian from Toronto, and that movie was shot in Toronto, the Black Christmas sorority house. It's not really a sorority house, but the sorority house is not too far away from me. So, and it's still there. So, we had a few production meetings and we talked about this, and what are we going to do? Is our time going to allow it? Because obviously I'm a voice actor and Bruce works in the industry as well, but he works in another sector of it. So we were kind of trying to mix and match our schedules to see if this is something we could feasibly achieve. And we also had to crack the code. We needed to crack the code, sort of what was our in point? What was this going to be about? What's the synopsis? What's the log line? What's our jumping off point? What is this going to be about? Well, I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be about, but I will say this, that it is a sequel. It's going to be a short film. We're developing it as a short film, but remember, a short film can be anywhere from 1 minute to 45 minutes. But that sort of short film seems a little more feasible at the moment for us. But it's going to be a sequel set in the original Black Christmas timeline, set 45 years later in the future. And we will be shooting here in Toronto and in the Toronto area. And we're in development right now. So there's the stages of the filmmaking process, of course, is development, pre-production, production, post-production, and then distribution. Marketing's in there as well. So we're in the development stage, but we're really excited about it because we have this really cool idea that is going to tip our hat to Black Christmas, but also maybe some other classic films that you know and love. And of course, we're going to bring what we love about horror, which is, the theater of the mind and the mood and the atmosphere and the creepy and eerie sort of thing to get in here. And we're really excited. And we will be starting a Indiegogo campaign. That's not ready to be launched yet. That's all part of the development process. But making movies costs a lot of money, guys. And even making short films can cost a lot of money. One of the biggest costs in making any movie, but certainly when you're an independent filmmaker, is the cost of renting not only equipment and the insurance, but also locations. For example, and I'm ballparking this, but for example, depending on the location you want to use, like if we saw a home that we wanted to use, sometimes depending on the location and the size of the home and all that kind of jazz, it can cost anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000 a day just to shoot there. That doesn't factor in the cost of your crew and your cast and your craft services and your, equipment and all that kind of jazz. And of course, the filmmakers in the chat room will know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, that's a ballpark. I mean, that doesn't mean that every location is going to cost that much, but that's why people raise funds to make these films. So we definitely will be raising money, hopefully, anyway, because we will have a set production budget, and the closer we get to that, the more of a reality this Black Christmas film to the legit vision that we have, the more of a reality that will be. Because this is not something that we just want to shoot on our iPhones and our Galaxy phones in a matter of a night like we did with Haddonfield Reaper. Although that was really fun and turned out pretty good. This is a little more legit thing. So if you're not following the Facebook page for It's Me, Billy, by the way, It's Me, Billy is the name of the film that we are working on. And for those who haven't seen Black Christmas, that might sound a bit funny, but for those of you that have seen the original Black Christmas, that will probably creep you out. So that's the name of our short film, is It's Me, Billy. And there's a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/itsmebillyfilm. Facebook.com/itsmebillyfilm. Obviously, there's no apostrophe in there. It's just It's Me, Billy Film. It's Me, Billy Film, all one word. Facebook.com. Like and follow that page, because that's where we're going to be, talking about the news and the updates and all that kind of jazz. And of course, here I'll do it as well. So we're really excited. This is going to be a lot of fun, and more news will come out as the weeks and months move along. So now that that's out of the way, thank you for your patience. I just needed to get that out there because I'm excited about it, and I'm telling you guys, we're going to try and deliver a legit Black Christmas fan film that not only we can be proud of, but you guys can be proud of as well, the fans of the original Black Christmas. So, all right, let's jump into the chat room, ladies and gentlemen, as I put on my specs so I can see you guys. Whoa! Holy shit, there you all are. Anyway, okay, let's scroll here and see what we got going on. Any super chats? No. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. All right, Stacking Stormtrooper says, Dave McRae, can you give any insight on anything you know about the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot for 2020? I don't know anything about a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot for 2020. Who said there was going to be a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot for 2020? I haven't heard anything about that. Bob McFucker Cakes. Hey, Bob, we were just chatting. Dave, did you see Midsummer? It was the style of Hereditary meets The Wicker Man from the 70s. You'd like? No, I have not seen it yet, so don't say anything about it. But I'm definitely going to, because I loved Hereditary. Stuart Johnson says, when's the Cody Leach video? Oh, yeah, no, I'm not sure yet. Cody and I, of course, are two very busy dudes, and we're trying to mix match our schedules to make that happen. It's definitely going to happen, but I'm not sure when yet, but it is, because we're both really excited to kind of, join forces and knock some shit out of the park. So it definitely will happen. Jake Sherwood says, Dave, I finished season 3 of Stranger Things today, and it was awesome. Really felt like the stakes increased overall. Yes, I'm in the middle of watching Stranger Things season 3. I'm about 4 episodes in, and I plan on finishing the last 4 episodes in the coming days. Grave Warmer says, is there a chance you'll be filming at the original sorority house? I will not say. I am not going to say. I love that question, but I am not going to say. I can't promise anything, but I'm not going to say. Let's just leave it at that. Mark McCarthan says, Dave, are you going to play Billy? I will say, I'm not going to say. Excuse me. Water got stuck in my throat. Don't you hate when that happens? I was about to talk and it wasn't all the way down the esophagus yet. I'm not going to say. Like, all this information will come out, but we want to be strategic about when we release this kind of information. Like, right now, we are in the middle of development, and that is the stage where we are, fleshing out ideas, beginning the screenplay process, beginning the treatment process as well, which obviously comes before the screenplay, but we're kind of doing it sort of at once. We are starting to assemble an Indiegogo campaign. Of course, that takes some time as well, because, we want the campaign to be successful, obviously, and we want as many people to share it as possible and to put the word out there. And because if we can raise that money, if we can raise a production budget, which again, we haven't begun to break down what that is yet. We're in the middle of talking to our connections now that we know, to try and figure all that out. But once we do know that, there'll be a set amount, and hopefully we'll be able to achieve it, because the closer we get to it, the more of a reality the film will be, right? So, there's so much I want to share with you, but there's still things that are unsure that we'll be able to do. Do you know what I mean? There's a great quote I saw online today. Where is it here? I want to read it to you because it's totally true. Is it this one here? No, that's not it. Where did it go here? Here we go. Yes, the quote is, making movies is an exercise in the art of making difficult compromises. And it's true. You can have a vision that you absolutely love, and you're like, oh my God, dude. Like, the filmmakers in the chat room will know what I'm talking about. It's like, dude, like, we gotta fucking. But sometimes the reality, sometimes you gotta make compromise. It's like, okay, we can't shoot there because we didn't raise enough money, or we can't shoot there because, oh shit, that's booked out. So now we gotta, oh damn, I was picturing this kind of a house with that kind of a look, but now I gotta settle with this. Can we make it work? It happens, right? It happens. So we're working hard. I mean, obviously, working in the industry here in Toronto, over the years, we've been able to develop connections, but that doesn't necessarily mean that because we know that person who knows that person who knows that person necessarily means that it's all going to come together, right? Because there's many different factors. So that's the process we're in now, the development stage of trying to figure these things out. So it's really exciting. And then hopefully in the very near future, we'll start the pre-production stage, which is very exciting because then that's when you'll get some insight, hopefully, into, cast and crew and all that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Ba-da-ba-ba. All right. And again, as usual, folks, if I don't end up answering your question, you guys know it's never personal. There's just a lot of people in the room and it goes by quick, and I'm very thorough. So, let's see here. Adam Carl Green says, after Friday the 13th Part 2, filming location moved from the Northeast to the dry, hot California. Bad move. After Friday 13. Oh, yeah, yes, that's right. Bad move. It's definitely noticeable. You certainly can see the difference. But has anybody really complained about it at the end of the day? It's something you notice and you're aware of. I don't know if in 1980, 2 and 4 and, I don't know if it was a big deal. Now we know all about that because of the internet, and we can read these things until our heart's content like that. But 35 years ago, was anybody sitting in the theater going, what the fuck? That looks like the desert. Like, probably not, right? So, bad move? I don't know. I mean, it's not like they moved it to, Norway or something, right? But I get what you're saying. Mike Warner says, Dave, are you a Bucks fan in light of today's news as me? I don't know. Oh, you mean the Kawhi move? Well, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm a Bucks fan because obviously I'm a Raptors fan. I'm from Toronto. Unless there's some other news that you're talking about that I'm not aware of. Like I like sports, right? I mean, I'm a guy. I like sports, but I'm not like heavy into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, I'll catch a game here or there or whatever. I'm a casual sports fan, let's say. Unless it's hockey. I mean, obviously being Canadian, come on, it's in our blood, right? Okay, let's see here. Whoop. One second here. I think I did. I spilled some water. Oh, no. There we go. Okay, we're good. Just a little bit of water there got spilled on the desk. I didn't realize that I had tipped that over. Okay, we're good. Let's see here. Scrolling down. I'm also thinking about, I don't know if I'm going to do this because I don't know if I'll have the voice to do it, but I'm thinking about when we start moving into the pre-production stage and we do launch the Indiegogo campaign for It's Me, Billy. Another thing I might do to help raise money for the production budget alongside that is do like an 8-hour or 9-hour live stream. And during that live stream, all I'm going to do is just take super chats. And it doesn't, you can, super chat $1, $2, whatever. Like it's not, it doesn't have to be, but the longer I go, hopefully maybe I can raise some funds that way as well. And then, I mean, that's not going to be a standard. I'll get back to the regular live shit as per usual like this. But I was thinking about doing that, like an all-nighter, It's Me, Billy live stream to help raise some funds for the film because that might be cool too. But whether I'll be able to actually do that for 8 or 9 hours, I don't know. I mean, by the end of it, I might be like, I probably will need some alcohol. Mike Johnson says, Dave, do you think you will ever make a sequel to The Night He Came Back? I am sure you have been asked this before, but do you think, I probably not. The Night He Came Back was an experiment. Well, I can't say it was experiment. Well, it was in some ways, but not like my very early experimental films, like the very early fan films I did. The ones that I just shot on a camcorder back like 10 years ago. Those were just to show filmmakers what you could do with literally nothing. Like you just have a basic understanding of lighting and camera angles and look what you can do. And then with The Night He Came Back, we went sort of a bit higher. That cost about $5,000 or $6,000 to make. And but it was experimental in the sense that I wanted to show again sort of what you could do with so little, the crux of what Halloween was. And that if I could do it on $5,000 or the kind of thing that Halloween was, then they should be able to do it on $10 million. You know what I mean? But a sequel, it was left open for a sequel. I think that time has come and gone. But you never say never. I mean, maybe if we can do It's Me, Billy in the ways that we want to do it, maybe we'll revisit The Night He Came Back and take that even to the next level. Like It's Me, Billy, guys, is we're going all in. Like it's gonna be like, legit. That's what we want. But of course it all comes down to the production budget. Let's see here. The J Hook Master says, is the film already cast? Would local actors have a shot? The film is not cast yet. We have looked at actors. We have sort of done a light sort of look at some people that we are thinking about. Local actors in the Toronto and GTA area, obviously. But we are not accepting submissions at this time. So when there is an announcement in terms of the casting, it'll be notified. I'll make an announcement about it and things like that. But it's not a gigantic cast, but it's more than a couple of people. So we'll see. We'll see. We're not quite there yet. But so to answer your question directly, no, casting has not been done yet. But we've lightly looked at some things. Oliver Mercer, super chat. Thank you very much, Oliver. Much appreciated. Oliver is a dedicated viewer. Hey, Dave, cool, fun show. Two films today. Maybe you meant do. I think you meant do. Two films today. Two films today. How do you feel about some CGI effects in films today? I just feel directors seem to rely on it too much today. Yeah, Oliver, great question. Look, I am not against CGI, because that is the era we live in. And if it wasn't for computer-generated imagery, for those of you that don't know, that is what it means, then we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that we do. We wouldn't be able to have a lot of the amazing stories we have, including the Marvel and the DC, the Marvel, the MCU and the DCU. When it comes to horror, it is overused. But it's not that I don't want CGI to not be used, but it's how it's used. It's a tool. It's a tool in a tool belt. CGI should never be the end result of something. It should be a tool that helps complement something. But it also should blend in where it's seamless and you don't know it's there. It's just to help you get over the hump and get over that sort of that edge. But when you start to rely on CGI and you think to yourself, well, let's not worry about it because we'll just that's how we're going to scare them. It just it's not scary to me. And then you're using CGI as to make this face all weird and creepy, and it's like, it's just, and some films have too. I thought the It from 2017, there were moments where I thought it relied too much on it. And then there were moments where I thought it was brilliant, so CGI is a fact and a reality. It's not like people have to, it's not one or the other. CGI, when it's mixed in beautifully, and it's complemented, it works awesome. But it's a balancing act. Another super chat from Mustack Reviews. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Hey, Dave, how big of a Hellraiser fan are you? I am not that big of a Hellraiser fan, to be honest with you. Growing up in the 1980s as a young boy, it wasn't one of my go-tos. Halloween, Michael Myers, one of my go-tos. Freddy Krueger, one of my go-tos. Jason, one of my go-tos. Chucky would probably be next. And then after that, by the early 90s, I became a teenager and I was focused on other things. And when Scream came along, I thought that was pretty cool. But I never became a Scream, like a Scream person. Do you know what I mean? So I like Scream, but Hellraiser, I saw Hellraiser, but I think I've only seen the first one, or this first or second one. I'm not a big Hellraiser fan, but that's not to say that I don't like Hellraiser. It just didn't really resonate with me. All right, let's see here. Julian Salgado says, hey Dave, favorite Ryan Reynolds film? No Deadpool. I would probably say either Van Wilder or Just Friends. He's fucking hilarious. Neil Tembo says, Dave, will we ever get another icon like Michael or Jason? I think I answered this question on a live stream not too long ago. Probably, well, yes, you will, but it will be different. The slasher genre today is often seen as it was always a B movie, okay? The thing is that horror has evolved, and because horror has evolved, horror has become more respected as a genre. It's still the least respected genre, and the next would probably be comedy. But horror is still the least respected genre, but it's becoming more respected than it ever has before. But the slasher subgenre is probably the least respected of the subgenres of horror. And when you go back 35 or 40 years ago, there was no real, like it is today, okay? There wasn't the plethora of supernatural and ghost and possession and all this kind of stuff. I'm not saying there wasn't any. I'm just saying there wasn't the plethora we have today. So horror was sort of film noir, and then you had this subgenre of slasher that started to make its way into the genre in the early 1970s, certainly in Hollywood, and on a sort of bigger scale. And but it was always a B movie. Like, you look at Halloween, look at Texas Chainsaw, look at Friday the 13th, Elm Street, Terror Train. Look at all the movies. They're B horror movies at best. So they're iconic because back then that was horror. You know, that's what you went to see. Now there's all different kinds of subgenres that are a little more respected, a little more mature, if I could say that. And the production value is really good because the technology has advanced, and the subgenre of slasher still hasn't kind of evolved. It has a little bit, but in terms of an iconic person like Freddy or Jason, I don't know if we'll ever get that again, because it's very specific to a specific subgenre and a specific B-movie kind of thing. So, you know, it's like when Hatchet came out in 2006. I remember people were like, oh, that Crowley guy, he's going to be the next big... And I watched Hatchet and I'm like, yeah, it's 2006, right? It's a B horror movie. Like that's where those guys live now. And unfortunately, that subgenre is sort of kind of, you know, not as respected as it was once in the 80s. Not that it was ever respected, but I think you know what I'm talking about now, right? So I think we'll see iconic things in horror, but it will be different. It's not necessarily going to be like a man in a mask kind of thing, but you never know. We'll see. Virtual reality may change that. Let's see here. Was there another super chat? Did I miss something? I'm always afraid I'm going to miss something. No. Okay, good. Let's see here. Anthony Bazzuto says, Dave, did you see Us? And if so, did you think it surpassed Get Out? I have not seen Us yet, but I did love Get Out. But yeah, no, I haven't seen Us yet. But I am going to. I think it's on demand now, isn't it? I think it is. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. I don't know. Stuart Johnson says, Dave, what about a Freddy versus Godzilla movie? Well, you know what I'm going to say to that. The Film Addict says, thoughts on Shazam? After seeing it, do you think DC is heading in the right direction? Okay, well, the first part of your question is I loved Shazam. But to the second part of your question, I'm not qualified to answer that because I am not one of those guys that understands the intricate details of the comic book universe. I liked Shazam because I thought it was just a fun, silly movie. It was like Big meets, you know, a superhero film. And I love Big, and I thought this movie was great. My girlfriend and I were just having a ball. We just had a great time. I'll probably get it, you know, when it comes out on Blu-ray. But whether now that means that the DCEU is on the right track, I have no idea. There's so much I don't know that I'm not qualified to answer because I don't know the intricate details and the variables at play that would give me an informed opinion. I'm not, like, it would just be a guesstimate. There is a video on my channel from, I think, a couple years ago now where I talk about what I think the DCEU did wrong in terms of order of release of films and how to best sort of, you know, set up a story to be able to compete with the MCU. But that's just logistical things. That's that you don't have to, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, with that second part, that's tough to say, man. Tough to say. Mustack Reviews, again, thank you very much. Did you see the Annabelle 3? Thoughts on Drag Me to Hell? Are you going to watch Scream 3 tonight? With the return of the original mask? Well, those are three questions. Number one is, no, I haven't seen Annabelle yet. Number two, to your second one, I have seen Drag Me from Hell, and I liked it. And the third part to your question there is the Scream 3. I haven't seen any of the Scream TV show. I couldn't care less about it, so no, I will not be watching it tonight. Another one comes in. He says, love from Australia, mate. Hope to meet you one day. Hey, you never know. You might. Let's see here. Adam Carl Green says, Dave, streaming a film via Netflix, etc., or going to a Blockbuster back in the day and renting? Oh, going to Blockbuster and renting. 100%. If I had to choose? Oh, yeah. 100%. There was nothing like, for those of you that are old enough to remember, and I mean like back in the heyday, not just like 10 years ago. I'm talking like 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Okay? I mean, to go to a video store and... It was an event. It really was an event. And it was exciting when you would turn to your buddy or your girlfriend and you'd be like, hey, you want to rent a movie tonight? It was like, yeah, let's rent a movie tonight. Like people got excited. It was like, oh shit, yeah, let's rent a movie tonight. Like the feeling you get when you turn to your friend and you're like, hey, do you want to go to a movie? Or do you want to rent a movie? Or, do you want to go to like that? Yeah, let's go to a movie. And how it's kind of like an event. Like maybe you go out for dinner and then you go to the theater and you rent some popcorn and you go and you sit in your seat, and you got your soda, or here in Canada, we say pop, right? You got your soda, you got your pop, you got your Coke, whatever it is, you're there and like that feeling was like renting a movie. Like that's what it was. Because you get in your car, you drive to the video store, you'd walk in, there'd be the smell of popcorn, the hustle and bustle of the store. You were excited. Oh, look at all the new releases. Oh, damn, it's not in. Oh, shit, somebody just brought it back. Yes, go get it. Go get it. And you'd rush to the counter. I need that. Oh, yes, I got it. Because, oh, yes, you know what I'm saying? It was a fucking event. There was some... I don't think Blockbuster did this, but we of course, like, down there, we had a lot of chains up here. Blockbuster was one of them. We had Blockbuster Video, Rogers Video, Jumbo Video, and then, of course, you had all your independent chains and your convenience stores. I remember renting, movies from convenience stores. It was an event, and it was really exciting. And, some places like Jumbo Video here in Canada, or in Ontario, it might just be an Ontario thing, actually. But anyway, they actually had a popcorn machine there that you could go in, and as you as you search for your movie, you could get like a little bag of popcorn, and, and that was brilliant because it gets you into the popcorn mood to the point where you feel like popcorn, so you buy popcorn on your way out. It was brilliant marketing. Worked every fucking time, too. But anyway, there's nothing, now you're at home, you're lazy, like, you want to watch a movie? Sure. It's convenient, but there's nothing like picking up that box, reading the back of it, putting it down, smelling it, and I'm talking like back in the day before it was even DVD shit. And I used to work at a video store way back in the day. I actually worked at Rogers Video. So, definitely I'm old school. Let's see here. Super chat just came in from David Quintanilla. Thank you, David. Much appreciated. A awesome supporter of the channel. Hi, Dave. Ready Player One got me excited about the possibilities of combining virtual reality and feature films. Do you think we'll be able to watch movies from inside the movie in our lifetime? First of all, I love Ready Player One. I watched it again on Canada Day, actually. For those of you that don't know, Canada Day is our 4th of July, and Canada Day is July the 1st. So we basically celebrate both of our Independence Days essentially at the same time. So on Canada Day, I went for a nice hike with my girlfriend, and we came back, and we had some dinner, and we sat and we watched Ready Player One. Now, we had already seen it. We saw it in the theater when it came out, but we hadn't seen it since then. So I popped it in, and we watched it. And she loved the movie too. I love that movie because for those of you that are old enough to remember, it was classic Spielberg. He proved that he still got it. He was the inventor, the creator of that kind of childlike sensibility adventure. Stranger Things would not exist if it wasn't for Steven Spielberg, right? And I know he's been doing a lot of dramas as of late, and he's not been doing those kinds of films, but he came out of the woodwork and he did a movie like that. If Ready Player One had come out 35 or 40 years ago, today it would be as a classic as like E.T. or The Goonies. I know he didn't direct The Goonies, but you know what I'm talking about. That movie did well, it did fine, but it didn't get the credit I think it deserves, primarily because of the era we're in now. You release a movie like that, and there's 10 blockbuster films that are released in the subsequent weeks after that just steamroll over it. Very rarely is there time for a blockbuster to breathe anymore, right? Which is essentially why Avengers Endgame was released at the end of April, because it had all of that breathing room in May. They knew that. It was brilliant marketing. But yeah, Ready Player One, we were sitting in the theater, we were like two kids. We were like, oh my God, Spielberg, like, where have you been? Like, this is the kind of, visual, childlike adventure that, I had been waiting for a long time. So I love the movie. To answer your second question, David, yes, I do think that technology will exist. I don't know if it will exist in our lifetime in the way that you're probably thinking about it. It might. Technology expands exponentially, and look at, it just grows and grows and grows faster and faster and faster. Maybe. I think what's next is the technology that James Cameron is talking about, which is the 3D without glasses. That's going to be off the wall insane. And then we'll enter into the virtual world and things like that. And whether we'll be able to actually be a part of the movie in our lifetime, I don't know. But in Ready Player One, the Oasis, I think that's entirely possible. I think the Oasis is entirely possible in our lifetime. Maybe not to the degree that it was in the movie, but some sort of world we can go into where we're at home with a, treadmill, and I can meet up with you and we could like hang out and fight some shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that's possible. Now, by the time that happens, I might be 75, but, we'll see. We'll see. Great question, David. Awesome stuff. That's awesome. Let's see here. Slash Pepper says, hey Dave, are there any other horror YouTubers on here to recommend? Say me. Slash Pepper. I don't know who Slash Pepper is, but there you go. Let's see here. Mustack_reviews says, also, hey Dave, just curious as to why you're not huge on what Don Mancini is doing with the Chucky films. Curse and Cult of Chucky, I really like a lot. It's primarily because Chucky for me ran its course after the first two films. The idea of Chucky and the idea of this doll totally, destroying the adults in his films, takes a certain level of suspension of disbelief. And the first Child's Play, I think, is brilliant. The second one, I think, okay, I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I think it's, it's fun. The third one is like, I think that's the one where he says, don't fuck with the Chuck or whatever. I mean, there's some fun, like he's definitely finding his own, but I just don't think the shelf life with Chucky is really long. And I'm just not that interested in the character. I think he's cool in that first movie. I think it was a creepy film. It was almost like a 90-minute, like, Twilight Zone film where, like, there's this creepy doll that comes to life and just kind of creepy, right? But in terms of the longevity and making a series out of it, it's like, hey, just like, fuck, come on. Like, stop buying the fucking dolls. Burn it. As soon as you see it, burn it. I don't know. There's just things that I just, the way he's able to manhandle the adults in his films, I just hard for me to believe that he would do that with any sort of consistency. So, I don't know. But that's just me. He is certainly a classic horror character that a lot of people love. And I definitely love that first movie. Entertainment Wizard says, I want to go into the Oasis. Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome? Like, I have a home theater here, so I got a big screen with surround sound and comfy seats, and we were watching it, and I was just like, oh, yeah. My girlfriend's favorite part of that whole movie is actually the beginning race with the T-Rex and Kong and things like that, and it's so awesome. And hey, did you notice there's no music through that entire sequence? None. Spielberg just wanted the sound effects and the design, the environment to speak for itself. Whew, beautiful stuff. Awesome creative choice. Oh, did I miss a super chat? Oh, no. Okay, that's the curse of the Chucky stuff. Let's see here. Scrolling back. Justin Hill says, Chucky was supposed to be trapped in the doll after the first movie. No questions asked. Why is there sequels? Yeah, well, I mean, because I guess the spirit can live on and on and on. Chucky's he's a cool character, but after the fourth or fifth movie, it's like, God, he's a fucking doll. Like, come on. I don't have anything in here that'd be I don't know. it's just me. It's just me. I like the first movie. But the longevity of Chucky, I really have to suspend my disbelief to buy into the fact that he's actually has this much physical control over the adults in his films. I just do. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief, I find. So that's just me. Mark McCarthan says, Dave, what's the best? I think you meant Texas. Texas Chainsaw 74 or Black Christmas? Texas Chainsaw. It's a guy who comes with a chainsaw to get your taxes. What is the best, Texas Chainsaw or Black Christmas? Well, they're two very different movies. Texas Chainsaw, although funny enough, there isn't a lot of blood in that movie. It's a very different type of movie. It's not as well made. I mean, obviously, I think the production value, even though the production value in Black Christmas is still quite very independent, it looks a little more solid and it's a little more clean than Texas Chainsaw. Texas Chainsaw, yeah, it's very old. And it's frightening. The concept is frightening, but it's more of a exploitation film in a lot of sense, with certain things. Black Christmas is more of a psychological mystery. So I don't think you really can. I don't really think you can compare them. I think you could compare Texas Chainsaw and Friday the 13th over Black Christmas. So yeah, that's how I feel anyway. Patman Fishin 89 super chat. Thank you, Patman Fishin, much appreciated. You're the man, Dave. Keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. You got it. Let's see here. Somebody I haven't had yet. The J Hookmaster says, do you ever see any of the Cineplex classic films they show? I recently saw E.T. in the theater. No, I have not been to the theater to see that. You know, actually, I could have at one. I was the voice of Scene Card for about 4 years. From 2012 to 2016, I did all of the Scene Card ads that you would hear in the Cineplex theaters across Canada. And there was a couple of opportunities I had to go and see some of those films, and I didn't. I don't know why. I should have, actually, because there's a few movies that I would like to see in the theater. You know what? I gotta check and see what's playing. E.T. would have been a good one. I remember Raiders of the Lost Ark was playing, and I was like, oh, I should go see that. Yeah, that's really good. I'm gonna check that out. Thank you for the reminder. Chucky fan, at Dave McRae, the new Child's Play didn't feel like Child's Play to me. People compared Don's movies to this reboot, and it shouldn't be that way. Listen, I said this in my Child's Play 2019 videos leading up to the release of the movie. I said that Child's Play 2019 did not need to be fucking amazing. It didn't. You may have wanted it to be amazing, but it didn't need to be amazing. It just needed to be pretty good. And I think for the most part, it was pretty good. Now, it's not making the money that they had hoped it would have made. I don't even think if it does break even, it's going to barely break even. So that's a little unfortunate. I don't know if there will be a sequel. But you never say never. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because my expectations were not extraordinarily high, because I knew that this was not a reboot. This really was, in the purest definition of the term, a reimagining. So I went in with I said to myself, I need to see what he looks like moving through the space. I need to feel how Mark Hamill's voice, how Mark Hamill's voice matches up with the doll and how all that, plays out. But at no point in time was I expecting, the next coming. I mean, I walked away going, that was all right. Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was good. I enjoyed that. It was different, but it was all right. And that's all they could have asked for. I mean, at the end of the day, and it's probably a bit lower now, but when it was released for the first week there, it was hovering around like 58-60% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I said in my videos leading up to that, if it could get in and around that, I did. I think I said 60%. It's a home run. I mean, no one was expecting 60% for that movie. Again, it's probably lower now that it's been out for a couple of weeks, but so yeah, I applaud them for the effort. There was some cool things in there. I don't know if Mark Hamill was the right man for the job, and I'm not critiquing his performance. It was brilliant. I just mean that because he's so recognizable, even his natural speaking voice, there were moments where it was a little distracting to me. Now, that might go away in subsequent viewings. Well, it probably will, because obviously I know what to expect. But I often wonder if a relatively unknown voice actor would have been better for the job, because then we're not hearing the Joker every few moments or so. So it's not a critique on his performance. It's just the creative choice. I understand why they chose him. It was a brilliant marketing move. And don't kid yourself, that's primarily what it was for. But I think maybe there could have been, there's no doubt in my mind that there are a plethora of talented voice actors that could have done justice to that role. But he was a smart choice in terms of the marketing. But I liked it. I thought it was all right. I couldn't care less if they made a sequel, but I thought it was all right. Let's see here. Dexter Morgan says, you mad about Kawhi Leonard leaving the Raptors? I just did a video on my channel talking about that. No, I'm not mad at all. I'm a little disappointed because obviously who wouldn't like to have a superstar like that on your team, right? And we just won a championship, right? But at the end of the day, I wasn't one of those people that thought he was going to stay. Not at all. And it actually surprises me that there were so many people that thought he was going to stay. And I don't think it's personal, but when you look at, like, when you whittle away your feelings and you look at the facts, he wasn't traded, like he didn't ask to be traded to Toronto. And Toronto, unfortunately, and I say this because, it's true, and I'm not picking out anybody in the chat room specifically, but a lot of Americans don't know a lot about us up here north of the border. There's this assumption that we're some weird, faraway enigma that's north of the border. We're this cold, barren wasteland that nobody knows about. And it's not like that. You cross the border and there's no culture shock at all, other than remembering that you're now in kilometers an hour as opposed to miles per hour. Nothing changes. We have many of the same restaurants, many of the same department stores. We have the big malls. We're a four-seasoned country. Living in Ontario or most of Canada would be like living in the northeast of the United States, in Boston or Chicago or New York or, Maine or Washington or Pittsburgh or Philadelphia or whatever. It's just what it's like here. So I found it funny when the American media would say, oh, he probably doesn't want to go to Toronto. I mean, think of the weather. And then in the same sentence, they would be talking about him going to the Knicks. And I'd be like, what the fuck? We get the same weather as New York. The exact same weather as New York. When it's winter there, it's winter here. When it's summer here, it's summer there. It was 98 degrees Fahrenheit here today. You know what I'm saying? Granted, it would be cold throughout the basketball season. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But there was a lot about Toronto that he was uncertain about, right? Because not a lot of people know that it's the fourth largest city in North America. And I think that helped. I think him coming here and staying on a regular basis and playing helped change those thoughts. But he always wanted to go to Southern California. I mean, listen, when you do everything right, you win a championship. He becomes the MVP. He brings his personal medical staff. The country loves him. The city loves him. Everybody loves him. He's getting free food, free $2 million penthouses and a condo looking over Lake Ontario. And Lake Ontario, folks, as you don't know, is like looking at a fucking ocean. It's one of the Great Lakes. You would not know that you were looking at a lake. It's that gigantic for people who may not know. And he still leaves? I don't think Toronto was ever on the radar, really. I think winning a championship and the good time he had, I think it made him go, okay. But at the end of the day, despite what the American media and the Canadian media were saying, I think Toronto was always a distant third. I think it took this long because his heart was really set on the Clippers. And he wanted certain things to work. And he spent all that time not going, Toronto. No, he wasn't doing that. He was spending all that time going, how the fuck can I get into LA? Damn it, they traded him. And that's what he was doing. And yet everybody up here is going, oh, he's taking his time because he's weighing his options. No, I don't think he was doing that. I really don't. And I hate to say it, but I think that's the reality of the situation. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully in due time, we'll be able to lure some superstars to Toronto. Toronto's a great city, guys. If you've never been, it's the New York of Canada. 3 million people here. I mean, it's an awesome, vibrant, exciting city. So, and he even said that. I think there was a quote where he said, yeah, I got to admit, it's a pretty cool city, and it is, it is. But unfortunately, because we're the only NBA team in the NBA, we're sort of the afterthought down there that not a lot of people pay attention to, and it's a little unfortunate. Hopefully one day we'll be able to lure some big names here, because when you win a championship and become MVP and you have everything was right. Medical staff, coaching staff, the chemistry with the players. He loved the players loved him, the city, and you still leave? Whoa. That's embarrassing. Anyway, we did all we could. It's disappointing, but I'm not upset. Let's see here. Some super chats came in. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Patmanfishin89, thank you very much, says, should they remake Last Starfighter? Oh, I don't know. You'd have to talk to Nick Castle. Did you guys know that Nick Castle, that's right, the OG Shape himself, directed that movie? He was going to do a sequel. When I talked to Nick Castle a couple years ago, he said he was interested in doing a sequel. Well, now he's retired, so I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure. Grave Warmer, thank you, Grave, says, glad Bruce is going to be in the short. Well, he's not going to be in it. He's helping me with it, but I think that's what you mean. I think he's a pretty exceptional... Oh, that is what you mean. I think he's a pretty exceptional actor. Are you thinking to target a larger female cast for continuity? Okay, well, for those of you that don't know, Grave Warmer is talking about the independent film that my buddy Bruce and I have entered into development on. Obviously, we work in the film industry here in Toronto, for those of you that may not know. And we are going to do a Black Christmas fan film, and a legit Black Christmas fan film. And we're in development now. But to answer your question, no, Bruce is not going to be in the movie. Bruce is helping me produce the film, and he's helping me write the film and possibly direct the film as well. He's definitely helping me produce it. And we'll see sort of whether or not he'll jump into the directing chair and help me direct it as well. So that'll be a lot of fun too, because obviously we've known each other for nearly 30 years. So that'll be a lot of fun. To answer the last part of your question, are you thinking to target a larger female cast? I don't want to give too much away at the moment. I will just say that there is a cast. Yes, this is more of an ensemble piece. When I say ensemble, I don't mean like, Avengers ensemble. I just mean that there's going to be more than one person, right? There is going to be a few people that are in the film. So, but Bruce is not going to be in it, and because it's just he's good at acting, but he doesn't want to do that. And I'm not going to be in it either. At least not. Yeah, well, I don't want to give too much away. I've said too much. Damn it. It's going to be exciting. Hey, if you're not following the Facebook page, facebook.com/itsmebillyfilm, no apostrophe in it's just It's Me Billy Film, facebook.com/itsmebillyfilm. Follow and like that page right now. The more support we can get, guys, the better to deliver a legit Black Christmas fan film. So, the more support we can get, the better. So go over there and like and support that page now. Do it! Come on! Let's see. Did I get the super chats? Here we go. Aaron Keller. Thank you, Aaron. Much appreciated. You end up peeping the Zach Ward pick I linked to you. Did I end up peeping the Zach Ward pick? Zach Ward. I know we were chatting there. I might have. Was that the one where the guy had the Freddy mask up for sale on eBay? That guy? I can't remember. Maybe it was him. I don't think he shipped to Canada, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. So sorry, Aaron. Things are so crazy lately. Remind me. Another super chat here. Mustack_reviews. Thank you, buddy. Hey, Dave, would you recommend Prince of Darkness? I think it's okay. It's not one of my favorite John Carpenter films, but I think if you're a John Carpenter fan, you might as well watch it because you're a John Carpenter fan, right? So, yeah, sure. Dexter Morgan, $1 super chat. Thank you, Dexter. Much appreciated. Super chat from Jacob. Have you started season 3 of Stranger Things yet? I have. I am on I just finished episode 4. My girlfriend and I will be finishing the last 4 episodes in the next few days. And then Tony and I will be doing a 2 Dudes and Some Bullshit on that. A reminder, I'm going to post this either later tonight or tomorrow. 2 Dudes and Some Bullshit. There will not be a 2 Dudes and Some Bullshit tomorrow night. I have a friend of mine coming in from out of town, so I'm going to be busy tomorrow night. So we are pushing the next episode of 2 Dudes and Some Bullshit, our Stranger Things Season 3 episode. We are pushing that. Not sure when yet. It'll probably be later in the week or the following Sunday, but I will keep you guys posted on that. Just a little busy for me tomorrow night. But anyway, that'll give some more time for people who haven't seen Stranger Things Season 3 to catch up on it. So all is good. Dan Curley says, hey, Dave, do you think your fan film will be better than Black Christmas sequel at the end of the year? Well, first of all, we're not making a feature. We're making a short. But again, keep in mind that a short can be anywhere from, 30 seconds to 45 minutes. So we are making one that is more towards the latter. Well, look, I mean, we're not going to have a multi-million-dollar budget, but we are going to be looking to raise funds for the film. Making movies costs a lot of money, and even short films cost a lot of money. So all I can say is that my sequel, my Black Christmas fan film, is titled It's Me, Billy. For those that have seen Black Christmas, you know what that means and what that is. And it falls in line in continuity with the original film. It takes place 45 years later. And we are going to honor the visual aesthetic and style of the original film, and all the shit that I love about those types of films. What I love about the original Halloween, Black Christmas, and the mood, the atmosphere, the theater of the mind, the tension, the suspense. That's what we want to do. So, and the production value will be solid. If we can raise enough money. I mean, keep in mind, it comes down to money, right? But I think we will. Because I think you guys are awesome, and you guys are going to spread the word because you guys want us to deliver just as much as we wanted to. Like, we want to deliver something for you guys that you guys can watch and go, fuck, this is good. I'm enjoying this, right? Because then we can be like, yeah, we could be happy and proud, and you could be happy and proud, especially Black Christmas fans, right? But take some resources to make that happen. So, and I know you guys are going to spread the word and get the word out there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But we're not quite there yet. Obviously, we're still in the development stage. But all I can promise is that the film is something that I think our goal is to have it as something that everybody can be proud of and go, yeah, now that was good, in terms of the production value and how it all looks and everything. It's a legit film. It's not a backyard 4.5 hour thing with your friends. It's taking what I did with The Night He Came Back to the next level. Okay? Like, way to the next level. Like, we're talking, legit shit. Anyway, in terms of production value, I'm talking about. The J. Hookmaster says, are you into Orson Welles? If so, have you seen The Other Side of the Wind? I have not seen The Other Side of the Wind, but one of my favorite Orson Welles films is Touch of Evil. Love Touch of Evil. One of my favorite films. If you guys haven't seen that, that's fantastic. A lot of inspiration for Halloween in that movie from John Carpenter as well. I like Orson Welles. Not all of his movies, but I've heard good things about that one. And my favorite from him, of course, is one of my favorites is Touch of Evil. Want to make sure I haven't missed super chats. Okay, Brandon Barry, thank you, Brandon, much appreciated. Dave, have you seen Midsummer yet? Creeped me out. No, somebody asked that earlier. I have not seen it yet, but it is on the list. The Film Addict says, I still need to see Signs with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix from 2002. It's hard to believe that movie's nearly 20 years old now. I saw that movie when it came out. And I really liked most of that movie, but I was not crazy on the ending of that movie. And that doesn't mean you're not going to like it. Okay, I'm just saying that I'm not going to spoil it, just wasn't crazy on it. When you've seen it, we can talk more about it when you've seen it. Stephen Moss says, do you think for the upcoming Halloween sequel, if they should give us flashbacks on Michael getting captured in 1978, they could cast Nick Castle to play Michael in these shorts? That would be awesome. No, I don't think they should. I think it's a very strange Halloween. 2018 is a very strange film. And I don't just mean, like, it asks, I'm all for leaving things to your audience's imagination. I mean, that's like theater of the mind 101. But the Halloween scene, it's very strange. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief that movie asks us to do, that feels weird and strange. I haven't quite put my finger on how to articulate my thoughts on that, and maybe I will one day, all I can say is it's just a very strange feeling sometimes when I think of the continuity of that film, right down to just calling it Halloween, like all these things. It's like somewhere along the line, Blumhouse wanted to have their cake, ice cream, and a couple of peanut butter cookies and eat it too. You know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like they were trying to kill 473 birds with one stone, and you ended up killing no birds with any stone. And I don't know. I gotta think about that more. But do I think they should? I don't know. I couldn't really care less. No, I don't think they should. Just leave it to the imagination, because because if you show that, you just run the risk of us going, "Oh, that's not how it would happen." And that's the last fucking thing I need to hear is people bitching about that. So, anyway. Let's see here. Jared Bowling says 100% agree about the ending of Signs. Oh, there you go. K316 Super Chat. Thank you, K316. Much appreciated. Hey, Dave, will you do a new Halloween fan film this upcoming October? Well, I'm not set. I mean, I'm going to be very busy with trying to get my Halloween sequel concept idea up online, which is still coming. I've assembled sort of about a quarter of it now, and I have to start putting together the rest. That takes a lot of time. And of course, I've just entered development on It's Me, Billy, so that's going to take up a lot of time. And I'm also in development on a movie that I've been in development for years on, which is a feature film based on a real life experience from my second year of college, which is in the sort of the psychological supernatural realm. So to then just jump right into doing another Halloween fan film would just be too much. However, doing something small, like one of my little shorts, like what I did with The Boogeyman, which is on my channel if you haven't seen that. That was kind of cool. Like just something where I'm walking around and some atmospheric, lighting, and there's this little story that helps drive. I might do something like that, because I've yet to do a little video with my Halloween 2 mask, which was generously donated to the channel and to the studio here by supporter Chris Baber. So I still gotta do something with that one there. So maybe I might do something like that. But in terms of like a legit full-on Halloween fan film, no, I don't think so. I just don't have the time, especially now that we've moved into development on It's Me, Billy. Frank Riker, Super Chat. Thank you, Frank. Much appreciated. Frank is also another awesome supporter of the channel and a patron, I might add. Dave, when they remake Nightmare on Elm Street again, how many people you think want the wisecracking? Oh, I see what you're saying. How many people do you think want the wisecracking Freddy? Well, I think there's probably a fair bit. I think, although Jackie Earle Haley's Freddy was quite dark, and he wasn't necessarily wisecracking, was he? And he was the least of the film's problems. I know that there are people that don't like his portrayal, fine. Don't like the makeup, fine. But really, at the end of the day, he was the least of the film's problems. I think because Freddy Krueger from Robert Englund is so established and so well defined, especially towards the latter, stages of the series, not including New Nightmare, I don't know, it's really interesting. I think the answer probably falls somewhere in the middle. I don't want Freddy's dead Freddy. I don't want Dream Child Freddy. I don't really want Dream Master Freddy. Dream Warriors Freddy, it's maybe because he's kind of that balance. He's not quite as scary as he was in the first two films. Not at all, actually. But he's nowhere near as dumb and fucking circus carnival barker as he was in the later sequel. So Elm Street 3 might be that nice balance between shit Freddy, but creepy Freddy. So I think 3 should be a good starting point, like a blueprint, and maybe you reel him back even further. But if I was entering development on an Elm Street film, that's what my advice would be, was let's look at Freddy from Elm Street 3 as a base model, as a foundation. That doesn't mean that that's exactly what we're going to deliver, but let's look at him as sort of one of our base models of how far we should go, and that's it. And then you look at Freddy from 2 and 3, and those are the Freddys that you need to kind of, maybe you find your hybrid in there somewhere. But there are fans, believe it or not, there are legit fans of Freddy's Dead and love that Freddy. And I just, I'd rather eat cow shit. Not really, but I feel like it sometimes. Okay, a couple super chats came in from Soul Tix. Thank you, Soul or Salutix. Am I saying that right? Anyway, thank you. Much appreciated. Michael Flory, what do you think about the Trick or Treat Studios H1 mask? Well, I don't really know. I mean, it looked pretty decent in the marketing photos. In the videos that I've seen of it, it looks different than what you would see. Let's just say that it doesn't look bad. I definitely like it a lot more than I like their Halloween 2 mask. I think their Halloween 2 mask looks nothing like the mask from Halloween 2. I mean, you can, there's certain features that you can look at it and go, oh yeah, I can kind of see it there. Do you know what I mean? But as a whole, I really don't think it looks anything like the mask from Halloween 2. And because they're mass produced, you're taking a gamble. Sometimes you get one that's all right. Sometimes you get one that's a fucking shit show. The same thing's going to happen with the H1 mask. They are mass produced. They have to get them out in bulk. They have to make a lot of masks for the cheapest possible cost at the highest possible volume. It's not about quality, it's about quantity. So you order an H1 mask from Trick or Treat Studios, you might get one and go, oh, hey, this is actually not bad. But you might get one where it's like, nah. I mean, look at the Halloween 2018 masks, right? Funny enough, it seems like everybody and their dog now are rehauling masks. So maybe you can get a Trick or Treat Studios H1 mask and it's not bad, but it's a really good like foundation. And maybe you rehaul it, or maybe you send it to somebody who rehauls it and adds some shadow and some shading and some weathering. And then you get it like, wow, and now it looks pretty good, right? Maybe not quite as good as those, but still pretty good. So, I think it's just going to be a matter of taste, and I think the same thing is going to happen with the H1 masks that happens with all their masks. Sometimes you'll get a good one, sometimes you'll get a shitty one, sometimes you'll get one that's all right, sometimes you'll get one that because it's being mass produced. So, I don't know. We'll see. But it's certainly not horrible. I mean, I've seen a lot worse. It's pretty good. It's pretty good because the mold is from what's the guy's name that did the molds all for, I think, the Night Owl Studios? Is that his studio? Jason Mabry? Is that his name? Anyway, he made one. He molded and made the Psycho, I think, which was one of the most famous Michael Myers H1 masks going at one point in the independent scene. So, we'll see. Gunner TJ says, when are you going to release your Halloween 2020 pitch? Oh, well, I just answered that. I am in the middle of still working on it. I've assembled about a quarter of it. But it takes a lot of work. I'm doing that. I've got my voiceover career on Monday morning. I have to go into Toronto and do some little kids animation, for a digital show. That's all I will say, because I can't say anything more than that because I signed an NDA. And then of course I got It's Me, Billy. And then I've got, what else? I've got, I've got the script that I'm working on for the other feature. And then it's a lot of work. I got this channel that I'm doing. And so it's coming though. It's it's a quarter assembled already. I think you guys are going to like it. At least I hope you will. Okay, some super chats. Gunner TJ, how long are you going to... Oh, already answered that. Awesome stuff. Thanks, Gunner. Appreciate the support. Frank Reiger says, what's your opinion on historical figures becoming horror characters like Abe Lincoln, Vampire Hunter? Could you imagine? Gandhi, Zombie Slayer. Well, I don't think there's any longevity out of it. But I think... I don't know. I haven't seen Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter because I don't give a fuck about it. It just doesn't interest me. Do I think there's something there? Like you can create like this whole universe? No. I just don't think there's enough people to give a shit about it. So that's how I feel. That's funny. Constall says, Jason Mabry, he also sculpted the mask for H4O. Did he? I thought the mask from Trick or Treat Studios was the exact mold from Christopher Nelson. I don't think Jason Mabry had anything to do with H4O's mask. I could be wrong, but that's not my understanding. My understanding was it was the exact mold from Christopher Nelson, who did the mold for the mask in H4O. So I think you might be wrong there, but the chat room will let us know. Unless there's a bit of information that I'm just not aware of. Bob McFucker Cake, super chat. Thank you, Bob. Much appreciated. Please give us an over-the-top trick-or-treat motherfucker. Excuse me, water again. Trick-or-treat motherfucker. There you go. He didn't. I always imitate it like that. Whenever I get into my Busta Rhymes mode and I'm talking about Halloween Resurrection, that's what I do. I'm always like, trick-or-treat motherfucker. He doesn't say it like that. He's more like, trick-or-treat motherfucker. That's kind of how he says it, right? But I just it's because I'm so used to doing voices that I take it to the extreme and I satirize it essentially. And I make it into like a cartoon. If I was a Busta Rhymes cartoon character, I'd be like, trick-or-treat motherfucker. That's what I would do. Let's see here. Breathtaking. The Film Addict says, favorite Joaquin Phoenix movie. Favorite Joaquin Phoenix movie. That's good. Walk the Line was really good. I liked him in Parenthood. A lot of people forget that he was in that late 80s, 1989? I think that movie's 89. I think that's 30 years ago now. Directed by Ron Howard, starring Keanu Reeves and Steve Martin and Rick Moranis, and it was a very young Joaquin Phoenix. I believe that was 89. That was fun. He wasn't the star per se, but he had a pretty big role in it. Her, he was really good in Her. That was really good too. There's a lot of good shit that he's been in. A lot of independent stuff that is quite obscure, but I think about that more. Let's see here. Super chat from Brandon Barry. Thank you, Brandon. Much appreciated. Do you think the Conjuring series has run its course? No, I think the Conjuring series is off course. I think the Conjuring series fucked up by going away from what made the Conjuring series a series to begin with, because they wanted to have this. And again, I understand it from a business perspective, but this is why there's so much incompetence at the studio, at the highest echelons of the studios and the highest. We didn't need a movie about the nun. The nun is an auxiliary player. She served her purpose in The Conjuring 2. We didn't need 3 fucking Annabelle movies. We didn't even need 1 Annabelle movie. We didn't. She served her purpose in the first Conjuring film. She's an auxiliary player. Not every auxiliary player, warrants its own movie. You don't do that. And although I haven't seen Annabelle 3, Annabelle Comes Home, I hear that there's a lot of different creepy things that they utilize and play with that may very well be creepy. I hear something about coins in the eyes. Okay, cool and fine. But that doesn't mean that these creepy things deserve their own fucking movie. Because sometimes they're served best in small doses and they serve their purpose in this film. They're auxiliary players. They're like extras in movies. I mean, not quite extras per se, but, it's like cameo. It's fine. You don't need, people, that's a creepy doll. Let's do 900 films about that. It's like, stop. Because The Conjuring 1, the first Annabelle sucked. The second Annabelle people seem to like, but is that because it was really good, or is that because the bar was so fucking low that anything after that would have been pretty good anyway? And then Annabelle 3 is getting mixed reviews, and everybody hated the nun, and it's like, stop. The Conjuring universe should just have been The Conjuring 2, The Conjuring 3, and just wrap it up as a trilogy or maybe 4 films where it's just these creepy, and you follow Ed and Lorraine Warren. That's who we're emotionally attached to. I don't give a fuck about the nun. I don't give a shit about Annabelle. You know, and I don't care about the crooked man. There's another thing. Let's make a movie about the crooked man, because there was this one scene in that movie where it was kind of creepy. There was this little crooked man, and then, you know, little song, crooked man, la 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 la. Oh, isn't he creepy? Yeah, he's creepy in that 3.5 minutes in this movie. It served its purpose. We don't need a 90-minute movie about the crooked man. Oh, man, because then you just water everything down. I get money, 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 money. And at the end of the day, if you really want to know how to stop these shitty movies, don't go see them. Get them at the box office, because that is the heart. The heart is the box office. You know, if you want to kill it, don't go see it. David Quintanilla, McRant. Yeah, that's right. I get fired up. All right. So no, Brandon, I don't think it's ran its course. I just think it's off course. You know, I think you just don't worry about all those little incidental shit characters. Who cares? I don't care about Annabelle. I wasn't clamoring, oh, I want to see an Annabelle movie. Who the fuck wanted that? I didn't. Just leave it alone. Just focus on this. Get back on track and focus on that. And maybe you might be able to have a series out of it. I mean, they already have a series, but you know what I mean. Anyway, Frank Riker, Super Chat. Thank you, Frank. Much appreciated. Sorry, Dave, but Bob started this. Can we get a look at the Beverly? Can we? I get what you, okay. For those of you that don't know, Frank is talking about the little spoof It Chapter 2 trailer that I uploaded to my channel, I guess about a month or so ago now. Whenever the official trailer dropped, was it at the end of May, beginning of June? I uploaded my own version of when Bev knocks on the door of the old lady, and she opens it, and I did the voiceover of the. It's a funny little spoof shit thing, and I know what you're talking. How did it go again? It was something like, look at them, Beverly, look at them. It was something like that. Yeah. Hello. Yes. Come in, dear. Look at them, Beverly! Look at them! Something like that. All right, let's see here. The Artisan says, at Dave McRae, thoughts on both the Candyman remake and the Craft remake. Will you go to the theaters to see either of them? I know I won't. The answer is no, I will not. Candyman, I was never a big fan of Candyman. By the time Candyman came out, I was already, when did Candyman come? What was that, 91, 92? When was that? Candyman. Oh, 92. Yeah, so in 1992, I was 13. And it's not that, you can't be fans of horror at 13. Of course you can. But by that time, I was changing a bit, right? Like I was getting into girls, I was getting into music, and I still loved horror, but I loved the horror that I had grown up with, right? So it's like the Halloweens and the Elm Streets and the Friday the 13th. I wasn't really getting into anything new at that time until Scream came along, and then that was kind of cool. I really only like the first one anyway, but although I will say the second Scream has grown on me. The third Scream was good to a point, and then just was like, I don't know what the hell happened there. But very rarely are third films and trilogies good anyway. But yeah, and The Craft, I mean, I saw The Craft years ago. What was that, 96? Was The Craft 96? Ooh, am I right on this? Was The Craft 96? Oh yeah, 1996, baby. I was 17. So I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it, I think on VH. I saw it on TV or at home, or maybe it was on the movie network or something back in the day. And I thought it was fine. I mean, it wasn't a movie that so no, I mean, it's not that I don't like Candyman, but it wasn't one of my go-tos. So it's not that I don't like him, but I don't care. And The Craft, the same thing. So yeah, I couldn't really care. I couldn't really care less. Michael Anderson says, should Stranger Things end with season 4? I liked 3, but you're starting to see red flags. It got too cartoonish at times, but still good overall. Okay, well, first of all, I have watched the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things. I have not seen the last remaining 4. I plan on watching the last remaining 4 in the coming days with my girlfriend. My girlfriend is awesome with watching Stranger Things with me. We get some munchies and we get some she gets a coffee and I get some chocolate milk. I love chocolate milk. And we watch some Stranger Things. So I will say this, although I haven't seen the last 4 episodes, I am enjoying this season so far more than I did the second season. This season appears to have a better pace to it. It's a much faster pace, but I do have things I want to say. There are things I want to say and talk about. Stranger Things, you've heard me say this before on this channel, it has a very short shelf life. This is not a show that I believe you could get 6, 7, 8 seasons out of. You can't, because the crux and the whole point of the show is the fact that it's centered around these kids. It's that Spielbergian, childlike Goonies meets It meets, there's so many. Stand By Me, it's that childlike adventure that you have when you're young. The older you get, you start to lose the innocence of that, the childlike imagination, and you start to get into girls, and listen to Richard Dreyfuss's voiceover at the end of Stand By Me, and how he just sort of brings it all home, and how that summer that he had with his friends, although that was a bit different because they were going on an adventure, but it was something like legit, serious. That kind of childlike adventure people grow up, you get into girls and and your priorities change and things change. And so that fun, that childlike adventure and innocence that Stranger Things was targeting and the heart of the show, you can only do that for so long because the kids are going to get older, and the kids are already getting kind of like, these kids are getting up there, right? To the point where, they're going to be going away. And I can't see a Stranger Things with these guys in college. It's just their priorities change. They're into other things. They're not freaking out over stuff. They're not going, oh, what if, it's just, it's different, and you lose the charm of what made the show so charming and what tapped into the child in each and every one of us right now that is old enough to remember growing up in the 80s, to remember that that's what we were doing in the 80s. We were riding our bikes around. We were getting into, shenanigans. We were using our imaginations. We would think, what's going on over there and all that kind of shit. But we weren't doing that when we were 17 or 18 or 19 or 22 or 23, right? So Stranger Things, in my opinion, you're probably going to be able to get 4 seasons out of it. 5 is pushing it. 5 is really pushing it, in my opinion. But you might be able to get 5. Maybe. And then I think that's it. But it wouldn't surprise me if they said 4 is it. I'd be like, yeah, okay. That's good, right? Because the longer you go on, and you have to think about the narrative too, like, Jesus Christ. What's the adventure? Like, what's the story going to be? The gate opens again and back comes the mind flare and, here we are again. Like, well, move out of the fucking town. Pick your children up and move. It's like what Joyce was thinking about doing in this show, right? So it's like, you would just like, Jesus Christ, So I think everything, it's a great premise, it's a great show, but it really does have a shelf life. And there's nothing wrong with that, because when you end it, it can be this nice little thing that you could watch over and over, and it doesn't get to that point where you're like, oh yeah, but then in season 6, they really fucked up and it was really boring and kind of shit. Go out while you're on top. That's how I feel about it. All right, let's see here. Oh, I hope I didn't miss a couple of super chats. Did I? No, did I miss one? I thought there was one I missed. Oh, here it is. Jordan Sills. Thank you, Jordan. Much appreciated. Did you ever read the Halloween Returns script? Thoughts? I read bits and pieces of it, but not all the way through. I wasn't crazy on the premise of the whole death row thing off the top. So I just wasn't motivation for me to continue reading it. But that doesn't mean that there weren't things in there that were probably pretty cool, but I didn't read it from start to finish. No. Let's see. Zach Frederick, what's the son's name on American Dad? Dave, you sure you don't do the voice for the son on American Dad? Yes, I am positive I don't. Listen, if I did the son's voice on American Dad, I would know. No, I don't know what the son's name is on American Dad. I don't watch American Dad. I mean, I've watched it a couple of times. That's funny, but I'm a Family Guy guy. I'm a Family Guy man. Yeah, I love Family Guy. I could sit and watch Family Guy and just, there's that fucking shit cracks up so much. I mean, for people that are a bit younger, that have no recollection of what it was like before Family Guy, you know, there was South Park too, right? Like those shows, South Park, Family Guy. I mean, you didn't see that shit. I mean, listen, The Simpsons, when it came out in the like 89, 90, there were a lot of parents that wouldn't allow their kids to watch The Simpsons because it was deemed too, I don't know. You watch The Simpsons? I watch those early episodes now and I'm like, fuck, it's nothing compared to Family Guy or South Park, right? So if you don't have that context, you know, and you've always grown up in a world where South Park and Family Guy has existed, it might not be that big of a deal to you. But when I watch Family Guy now, even still to this day, and nearly it's 17th, 18th season or whatever, I still crack up. Even at the bad episodes, I'm just like, I can't believe they actually said that. I can't believe I'm watching a cartoon. And I have the DVDs, right? So I watch all like the shit that's blurred out for network television. So, you know, there's times where, you know, Peter will be like, you know, take his pants down and there's his penis, you know, and it's just like, it's just fucking funny. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe there's a cartoon that does this. Like, it's really hilarious, you know, because I remember when that's unheard of 20, 25 years ago, you know? So yeah, fun stuff. Love Family Guy. Let's see. K316 Super Chat. Thank you, K316. Much appreciated. Hey, Dave, between Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill, and Heath Ledger, who plays the Joker best? And also, have you ever watched the Cheech and Chong movies? Well, to answer your last part of the question, I did see one of the Cheech and Chong movies. I think is it Cheech or is it Chong? One of them's Canadian. I think it's Cheech. Or maybe, no, it's Tommy Chong. I think Tommy Chong is Canadian. Anyway, first part of your, maybe they're both Canadian. I think Tommy Chong is though. Who plays the Joker the best? Well, they're very different Jokers. And I know that sounds like a cop-out answer, and I know a lot of people have said that kind of thing, but it really is. They're very different. I mean, Jack Nicholson's Joker is much different than Heath Ledger's. Heath Ledger's Joker is probably more in line with Mark Hamill's Joker, minus the maniacal laugh. I mean, Heath Ledger didn't really do any I mean, he laughed, but there was never a point where he was like, you know, like he wasn't doing that. You know what I mean? Whereas Mark Hamill's Joker sometimes did, right? But it's a cartoon. So when you're playing a character in a cartoon, you're overemphasizing and you're really bringing in the theatrics, you know, because you have to be over the top to complement, you know, the medium for which you're watching, whereas movies is a little more subdued and subtle. So you can say more and project more in subtleties in movies than you can necessarily in cartoons with villains. So they're very different. I mean, yeah, they're very different. I mean, you could add the Cesar Romero Joker in there as well from the 1960s Batman. I think it's Cesar Romero, right? Great question. Thank you for supporting the channel, but I'm not sure. My favorite out of that, there's something, you know what? I know Jack Nicholson is not necessarily dark because it's a different type of movie too, right? Like Tim Burton's Batman is a cartoon world. It's like watching Dick Tracy with Warren Beatty. Not quite, but I mean it's a comic book world. Heath Ledger's Joker is grounded in reality. He's a gangster. he's a evil gangster lord. I mean, the Joker is anyway, but he's more like real, like he's playing it straight. So, but there's something about Jack Nicholson's, because he's one of the most iconic actors of all time, to watch him play that role is just fun. I don't know, it's tough, man. It's tough. Thanks for the question, though. Super chat from Oliver Mercer. Thank you, Oliver. With ghosts, where do you think EVPs come from? As there are a lot of evidence of it. I've actually recorded a few odd things myself. Well, that's a loaded question. I don't want to take too much time on it, but because this is in line with sort of a feature film that I am writing. I don't know. I will say that electronic voice phenomenon there is a part of it that is bullshit. You can't just turn to white noise or get a ghost box and start, flipping through the frequencies on a ghost box and hear voices and think you've heard ghosts from the other side. You could very well be tapping into the satellite AM and FM radio frequencies as well and just heard a DJ. I mean, come on, let's get fucking serious here. But for those of you that don't know, I have quite a bit of experience with EVP, going back almost 20 years now. And hard to believe it's been that long. Jesus. I'm getting old, folks. But I will say that there is a part of the phenomenon that I believe to be legit. And where they come from, I'm not too sure. There's a lot of things in this world that float through our air that we don't see. I could start diving into quantum physics and string theory and other realms and dimensions and things like that, but that's a whole other fucking show right there. But I don't know, but I do think there is a section of there is a section of legitimacy to the EVP phenomenon. Unfortunately, these ghost paranormal type shows don't do that phenomenon any favors. Let's just say that. All right. Super chat from Cody Martin. Thank you, Cody Martin. Much appreciated. I think you're a brilliant guy, Dave. Oh, well, thank you. Wish I was more of a friend instead of just a fan. You have tons of movie knowledge. Much respect. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the kind words. And thank you for supporting the channel. And being a fan, man, being a fan of the channel and supporting the channel, that's how you keep this channel going. So you are playing a small part, but nonetheless, a very important part. Mike Johnson, it is really sad that Ledger died. If he only knew how many people years after his death consider his performance to be one of the most villainous performances in cinematic history. I agree. It is very sad that he died so young. 28 years old, I think, or something like that, and very talented. And it would have been very interesting to see where he would have gone in his career. The only thing I disagree with, a creative choice that I disagree with in The Dark Knight Rises, the third movie in the series, was there was no mention of the Joker at all. And Nolan wanted to do that out of respect for Ledger. And I completely disagree with that. It's like, no. That role was iconic by that time. I get the principle of what, his reasons why, but I disagree with it. The Dark Knight came out in 2008. The Dark Knight Rises came out in 2012, 4 years later. By the time he went into production on The Dark Knight Rises and made the creative choice not to mention him, his role was already iconic. The Dark Knight was already a cultural phenomenon, and so was his role. Talk about him. That's how you honor him. No, we're not going to. What the fuck are you talking about? It was weird to have this movie in the continuity and nobody's talking about the shit that went down 4 years earlier or 8 years earlier or 7 years earlier, whatever it was in the continuity. I think it was 8 years after the events of, or 7 years or something after the events of The Dark Knight. But I disagree with that. You mention him. You don't have to cast somebody else as him. Okay, fine. Fair, but mention him at the very least. Show some newspaper clips or something or whatever it is. It's fucking he's not Jesus. You'd think he was some god or something, It's like, no, you mention him. You absolutely, that's how you honor him. You mention him. If you don't want to recast and have him in the movie, fine, fair. I get it. Too soon? Too soon? Yeah, okay, fine. But you absolutely talk about him. So that was one thing that I did not like. Obviously, the movie as a whole, I don't think was quite as good as The Dark Knight. But that was a creative choice that I thought was just a bullshit. When I found that, I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's just dumb. Anyway, and my favorite of the series is actually Batman Begins. I like The Dark Knight. Who doesn't like The Dark Knight? But Batman Begins is actually my favorite. Oh, did I miss some super chats? No, I think I got the last one, right? Just want to make sure I'm not missing any super chats. Okay, cool. All right, let's see here. Tenza Zangetsu 59. Dave. Oh, I probably butchered that. Dave, would you ever consider maybe in the distant future creating a short film based on your alternate version of Halloween 5? First time commenter. Love your vids. Well, thank you so much for commenting. And I was able to get your comment. There's 184 people in the room. These comments are going by like wildfire, and sometimes it's hard to get to everybody. So awesome that I was able to get to your question. I'll be honest with you, probably not. I'm just not that passionate about it. But you never say never. I mean, maybe one day in the future I would do it, but I don't know. It's not on the table. But like you said, maybe in the distant future. Maybe. Who knows? Thank you for the question, and thank you for your very first comment. Nick, Super Chat. Thank you, Nick. He says, what's your worst ending to any movie and why? Oh, worst ending to any movie. I don't know. Maybe I take these questions too seriously, but I think that's what you guys like about my answers, that I think about it and I take my time, right? I'm not just answering off the cuff and willy-nilly it, as they say. What's your worst ending to any movie? Worst ending to any movie? That's a great question. And why? I can tell you, I don't know. I will say this. There was a movie I watched on Netflix. This just came to me. I'm not going to say it's the worst, but it'll help answer your question. There was a movie on Netflix. Maybe some of you know the name of it. It had Richard Gere in it. It was a movie from a couple years ago. And it was about, I actually quite liked it. It was a drama. And it was about him and his wife and their friends out to dinner. And they were all kind of talking. It was about the social commentary talking. And it was a piece where you discover a lot about them, and there's a hidden secret between the friends, and I forget what it was called now, but that movie I was watching with my girlfriend a couple years ago, and we actually were quite into it. Actually, the performances were good. We actually quite liked it, and then it just ends, and we're like, that's it? That's it? It was like they didn't know how to end the movie. It was like there should have been at least another 10 or 15 minutes. And so I liked the movie, but I thought the ending was dog shit. And I forget the name of the movie. Maybe somebody here knows the answer. I forget the name of it. Let me just quickly, hang on. I'll just quickly get it here. Richard Gere. Good old Richard Gere. Go to his IMDb. Just going to go quickly to his filmography. And it was the, wait a minute, no, let me see here. Oh, it was The Dinner. The Dinner. It was from 2017, and it was called The Dinner. And it's not like it's got a great review or anything like that. But I just kind of liked, when I was watching it, I liked the performances, and I liked sort of the secrets that the couples had with each other and kind of what was going on. And, and I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was great, but it just ended. And I was like, what the fuck? The fuck is that shit? And my girlfriend thought the same thing. Anyway, It's Complicated said The Sopranos. That's one that a lot of people always refer to. The Sopranos too. Yeah, funny. Yeah, Great question. Thank you very much, Nick. One of my favorite endings of all time. Can anybody guess right now what one of my favorite endings of all time in horror is? One of my favorite endings of all time. It's like top. Oh, it might be my favorite. It might be my favorite. Can anybody take a guess? Take a guess. Halloween 5. Oh, Robert. Love it. Let's see here. The Shining, Halloween 4, Sleepaway Camp, Black Christmas, Halloween 4, Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, well, I'll tell you. Killer Clowns. My top 5. Oh, this is so good. But anyway, one of my favorite endings of all time is the ending to the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Fucking love that, man. Love that. I've loved that movie for decades. Now, that movie is actually a remake of the 50s film, I believe. And a bit of trivia for you, the director of the 50s film actually appears in the 78 movie. I think he's the one that... Remember when Donald Sutherland's character was driving in that car and there's that guy that suddenly comes onto his hood and he's like, you gotta get out of here, or whatever it is. He's like panicking or whatever. I think that's the director of the 50s movie. I stand to be corrected, but I think that's it. Anyway, yeah, top 5 endings in horror for me would be Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Halloween, Black Christmas, The Shining. Oh, fuck, there's so many good ones. I mean, Elm Street, Friday the 13th. Now I'm going into 6, 7. There's so many. Oh, that's good. You guys always give me good ideas. Inadvertently, but good ideas. Maybe I'm going to do a top 10 favorite horror endings video. I think I'm going to do that. There's a couple of video ideas I have on the go. I know I've sort of been very far and few between in my regular videos on my channel, but just because I've been so busy, which is why sometimes I like to jump on and do live streams with you guys, because it's like I want to get on and talk to you guys, let you guys know I'm still here. Yeah, I love that. Oh, Donald Sutherland just so like, and you didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming, because what was so great about that ending was Donald Sutherland's character, when it got to the end of the movie and he was all like, stoic and in line and following everybody, you just assumed that he was doing that to blend in because that's what they had to do for the vast majority of the movie anyway, right? So there was no tip-off that something had happened. So when it gets to the end of the movie and the girl's like, why am I forgetting his name? I don't know why I'm forgetting. Daniel? Is it Daniel? I think I got it right. I think it's Daniel. For some reason, I'm forgetting his name. No, Matthew. Was there a Daniel? There wasn't a Daniel. Why am I thinking Daniel? Anyway, Matthew, that's right. And I forgot Jeff Goldblum is in it, and Leonard Nimoy, and Art Hindle from Black Christmas is in it as well. Good Canadian guy. Yeah, there was at no point in time did you just assumed he was blending in. And when What's-Her-Face is like, Matthew? She's like, and he's like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, fucking amazing ending. Amazing ending. One of the best, probably in cinematic history. One of my favorites for sure. Mikey Film says, how's it going, Dave? Pretty good, Mikey. How you doing? Let's see here. Want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Super chat came in from David Lee Barron. Thank you, David. I just saw Revolutionary Road. Powerful movie. Oh, if you guys have not seen Revolutionary Road with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet and Michael Shannon, you have got to see that movie. It is listen, Leonardo DiCaprio is amazing. I mean, we know that, right? His performances in The Aviator and Wolf of Wall Street and The Revenant and, watch Revolutionary Road. I mean, and you know what I'm talking about, David, when it gets to the ending there and they're going back and forth. Oh, the performances. That movie to me is one of the most underrated films out there right now. And it slipped under the radar. It is powerful performances from both Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's just, if you want a great drama to watch with powerful performances, watch Revolutionary Road. Awesome film. One of my favorite performances from DiCaprio. Excuse me. Let's see here. The J Hookmaster says, Dave, can you tell us what your feature film may be about? I can't. I can just tell you that it is based on an experience I had in my second year of college. No, not that kind of an experience, you guys. Get your minds out of the gutter, you bastards. No, it deals in the world of psychological, supernatural mystery horror. Let's just say that. And it's been a work in progress for nearly 20 years. But it's my baby. It's a personal film. And if I only ever make one feature film in my life, one legit feature film in my life, that would be the movie that I would want to make. Now, obviously, I would hope to make a lot of feature films in my life, but I'm 40, and, if I only get to make one legit film, that would be it, because it's a personal thing to me. Let's see here. We'll go to 10 o'clock. We'll go to 10 o'clock tonight. That'll be 2 hours. That's how I usually do my live stream. Saturday night Chitchat live AMA, 175 people watching. I think we hit 190 at one point. Hope all you guys are enjoying your Saturday, July 6th, 2019. Bob McFuckercake says, which horror movie have you appreciated more over time after repeat viewings? That's a good question. Definitely Black Christmas is up there. The Shining, for sure. The first time I watched The Shining, I was like, I like this, but I need to watch it more and more to really appreciate it. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The very first Texas Chainsaw, because that's a dated movie. That's a really dated movie. There's a lot of things in that movie that are like, yeah. But I appreciate what they were going for sure. And I've always appreciated this film, but I appreciate it more and more I watch it, is The Exorcist as well. For sure. So, I mean, Halloween too, but I've always appreciated Halloween on a level that is, quite high. So I can't really include that. Let's see here. Scrolling back, seeing what's going on. Curly. No, oh, sorry. What? Dan Curly? Dan Curly, did you like the show Community? I don't watch a lot of network television. I'm not a big... If I'm going to watch TV per se, I usually watch sports, the news. I'll watch like old shows like Seinfeld, King of Queens, Three's Company. I usually use TV as a nostalgia thing and a kind of a feel-good kind of thing to decompress and wind down, and rather than to get caught up in the drama of something current and having to tune in each week and all that kind of stuff. But I will say that I have watched a couple of shows on Netflix, mostly thanks to my girlfriend, although I did watch Dark on my own. I discovered that show on my own, and I love Dark. But there's been a couple of shows that I've been watching with my girlfriend that I quite enjoy. I watched all seasons of Kimmy Schmidt, which I thought was hilarious. We're watching Good Girls now, which I actually think is pretty solid. And Dark, of course, I'm watching, and Stranger Things, but I'm not a big, those types of shows, Community, Parks and Rec, it's not big on it. Not big on it. Okay, let's see here. Cody Martin says, oh, we got a super chat. Did we get a super chat? We did, from Nick. Thanks, Nick. Much appreciated. Ever see Sam Raimi's suspenseful A Simple Plan? I don't think I have. But I like Sam Raimi as a director and as a filmmaker, so I will have to check that out. Thank you, Nick. Much appreciated. Love your avatar, by the way. Let's see here. The A button says, will there be any new Hallow streams? I imagine there will be. Yeah, I imagine there will be. Of course, there's not really any news on the Halloween front. I mean, I've had a lot of messages from people that, well, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Did you see this? Did you see that? And it's like, yes, I did see it. I'm not somebody that's going, because if I'm going to do a video of every little thing, I would be doing a video every day. And I know that would be great for you guys, but I can't logistically commit to that. So I like to sort of look at, the important stuff, right? I mean, if it was like I saw that Nick Castle today posted a picture of Michael Myers mask or something with a little, number 2 on it on his Twitter, and people were losing their minds and sending me messages. Dave, you talk about Dave. And it's just like, I don't know what it doesn't, that's not enough for me to break out the gear and the equipment and put everything on. And what the hell am I going to talk about? I don't know. Maybe it means that he's going to be in part 2. All right, cheers. I have no idea. So I like to wait for some more substantial meat on the bone, because I like to speculate and offer the experience I have and the sort of the knowledge that I like to bring to the table in terms of that kind of thing. It doesn't mean I'm right, but I like to bring informed opinions to things, to do my best to give you guys the best insight that I possibly can. Doesn't mean I'm right. I've been wrong. But just talking about little minor things like that is just not enough for me to get excited about, essentially, is what I'm saying. Not enough for me to get excited about. But when bigger, heavier things drop, then I can get excited about, because then there's more meat on the bone that I can talk about and speculate and offer some juicy insight into maybe what that could mean, or, whatever the case is, right? So that's the kind of guy I am. So, but yeah. So that's why I don't jump on everything that is dropped, because I need more meat on the bone, as they say. Dan Curley follows up with thoughts on Drag Me to Hell. I like Drag Me to Hell. I actually thought it was all right. I mean, not amazing, but I thought it was fun. Yep, I liked it. Let's see here. Vampire's Coffin says, hey, Dave, buy or sell 70s horror, 80s horror? Which decade had the best impact to you? Do I buy or sell? Well, I buy it. I don't sell it. Which decade had the most impact to you? Which decade in horror had the most impact to me? Probably the 80s overall. But I've come to appreciate 70s horror much more as I get older. Because you see, when I was a young boy, I was born in 1979. So I was born on the cusp of the end of Gen X, and sort of, by the time I was old enough to cognitively understand what I was watching, it was already probably 1985. So obviously the 80s horror had more of an impact on my life. But because I had older siblings who were kids in the 1970s, they introduced me to Texas Chainsaw and Halloween and The Exorcist and Black Christmas and things like that. So I was getting a lot of sort of 70s schooling in that respect. So I was a kid in the 80s that appreciated something like Halloween and Texas Chainsaw, when a lot of kids in the 80s weren't appreciating that because it was too far, long ago. They were into Freddy and Jason. So, and I was too, but I also had that other kind of thing, right? So I'd say the 80s, because of the decade I was aware of what was going on, but certainly as I've gotten older, 70s as well, for sure. Did I miss any super chats? No. Okay. Just want to make sure. Always like to make sure I get those super chats for you guys. Megatron Trap says, what's your least favorite Michael Myers mask? My least favorite would probably be Five's mask. I know some people like to say, well, mine's the CGI mask. Well, I don't really count that, because it's not an organically created, it's not real. It's just and I agree, it's dog shit. I never understand why I don't understand. Like, I'd have to watch Halloween H2O again. And granted, I'm not a big fan of the movie, so it's one of the least watched in the series that I watch. I probably could find the scene actually online. Maybe that's what I'll do, because I don't want to watch the whole fucking movie to get to the scene. But I don't understand why they didn't just forego that shot. Like, instead of showing the CGI shit show, why not just cut that out and just show the reaction of the kid going, and use a little bit of theater of the mind, a little bit of suspense, and we don't see Michael. We just see the kid's reaction. Just cut that fucking shot out that's what I would have done. There is no way that if I was the director or the producer and I was in the editing room and they showed me that, there's no fucking way that I would let that go. No, I'd be like, that looks like dog shit. I mean, it looked like dog shit in 1998. It's not like it only looks like dog shit now. It looks like dog shit. It looked like dog shit in 98. I saw the fucking movie in the theater. I was 19 when it came out. I remember it very well. I was working at a movie theater when it came out. I got to see it for free. So I remember thinking, what the hell was that? And of course at the time I didn't automatically think CGI. I just kind of thought, oh, was that? And it happened so quick. And the movie continued. And of course I can't rewind and go back. So I was like, oh, maybe Michael was he about to burp or something? And he was like, I don't know. It just looked weird. There's no way I would have let that go. I would have been like, let's just cut that shot out. Okay. Or go reshoot it, which would have, but no, if we can't, cut that shot out and just simply just show the reaction or whatever. It was weird. It's garbage. But anyway, I don't consider that when I'm thinking about worst Michael Myers masks because it's fake anyway. So I go to 5. I actually think the H2O mask isn't terrible. It's not good. But I just don't like how much they showed his eyes. It's like, why are you showing his eyes? He had the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Well, apparently not. He had the bluest eyes, the ocean's. I mean, that's exact. Get rid of that. Just, a lot of toady farty things in that movie I don't like. Let's see here. A couple minutes left. Yankee Fan 24 says, and H2O was directed by Steve Miner, director of 530 Part 2 and 3. Yes, it was. Yes, he was. It's directed by Steve Miner. That's right. Dookie Wilco says, hey Dave, I'm going to watch Night of the Creeps for the first time tonight. Have you seen it? And if so, what did you think? I have seen it, but I haven't seen it in a long time. I thought it was all right. It's not a movie that I revisit a lot, to be fair. It's not really in my Rolodex of horror movies that I revisit, but I thought I like it. I do. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because I want you to experience it for the first time yourself. Super chat from Grave Warmer. Thank you, Grave. Says, Harrison Ford walks up to Han Solo at a bar. Go. Okay, so Harrison Ford walks up to Han Solo at a bar and he says, do you want to see my blaster? That's what he says. Oh, sorry. Harrison Ford walks up to Han Solo at a bar. For some reason, I thought you meant Indiana Jones. And I got it mixed up. Okay, Harrison Ford walks up to Han Solo at a bar and says this. He says, so, I hear you're the guy with the big blaster. I've always wanted a blaster to blow Callista Flockhart out of the water. She's really annoying. I need to get rid of her. Can I borrow it? And then Han Solo says, yeah, no problem. Here. That's what he says. That's what it is. There you go. So Harrison Ford walks up to Han Solo at a bar. That's what is said. Harrison Ford takes a blaster and goes and kills Callista Flockhart. Oh, man. Let's hear. Kyle Sanford, have you seen Westworld, the 1973 film? I have. I love it. Love it. I did some movie promos for that movie, actually, when I used to be the network promo voice of a movie channel here in Canada called Encore Avenue. And I did that for about 4 years. And then the channel was bought out by Bell Media here in Toronto, and they dissolved the channel. And since the channel was dissolved, my job as the network promo voice also went with it. So, but I remember doing some promos for that movie, and it's good. It's a good movie. There's a lot of good movies from the 60s and the 70s that talk about a lot of the shit, a lot of those, future kind of like what the world is going to be like type of movies. Dylan McMillan says, any hype for Star Wars 9? Not as much hype as there would be if The Last Jedi was actually good. It was dog shit. Funny enough, though, you know me, I give credit where credit is due. And Rian Johnson, I've always thought was a talented filmmaker. Brick was good. I think it was Brick, right? Was it Brick? Or am I thinking of John Boyega? Anyway, the movie he did, the small independent film, then he does Looper. I enjoyed that movie. His Knives Out movie trailer looks pretty good. I mean, I gotta give credit where credit is due. That doesn't mean that the movie's going to be good, obviously, But I enjoyed it. I thought the trailer was really well cut together. The energy of the trailer, love the cast, love the premise, the whodunit, right? And I think with his own material, Rian Johnson could be something pretty special. Unfortunately, I just don't know what the fuck he did with The Last Jedi. I mean, don't get me going. That's a whole other fucking thing I could go into. But I give credit where credit is due, and I can see people online, you're fucking right. No, look, it looks good. And I think it pains people to admit that it looks good. I think a lot of people watch the Knives Out trailer and are like, that actually looks pretty good. I'd go see that. If you didn't know Rian Johnson directed it, you'd probably be like, oh, I'm totally excited about this. I'd go see it. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Chris Evans is in it. Daniel Craig is in it. I mean, look at the cast. Yeah. And then some people are like, oh, it's Rian Johnson. And it's like, no, you're just fucking doing that out of spite. It looks good. It looks like it could be a really good film. So we'll see. Doesn't mean it's going to be, but we'll see. So, yeah. But the hype for episode 9 is not really there because episode 8 was dog shit. And I think more hype will continue to generate after Comic-Con, because I do think we'll probably get something at Comic-Con, maybe a behind-the-scenes featurette, hopefully another trailer, but they don't have to release a trailer. I think they should actually release a trailer in July or something, because it's a different ball game. You didn't need the hype for The Last Jedi because there were a lot of people that were already hyped for that movie. But because The Last Jedi was so divisive, I think you need all the promotional material and hype you're going to get. So the earlier the better, in my opinion. But I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm one that really liked The Force Awakens. I thought it was a really good film. I thought The Last Jedi was dog shit. So I'm hoping in JJ I trust, folks. In JJ I trust. Hopefully he will get things back on track. Okay, I'll take two more questions. Let's see here. Robert Webster says, favorite superhero movie? Mine is Logan. I think I have to go classic and say the original Superman. Yeah. Or Batman Begins. I love Batman Begins. I think it's a really good movie. But the original, I got to go classic. I'm 40, man. I got to go classic. It's just nostalgia gets me every time. Let's see here. One more question. I love that Harrison Ford walks up to Han Solo in a bar. Go. I need to borrow your blaster. Callista's annoying the fuck out of me. There you go. Take it. Can you imagine? There's a fan film right there. All right. One last question. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Zach Frederick says, what? Wait, Dave, wasn't the late 80s and 90s to early thousands Generation X? You're saying the 70s was Generation X. I thought it was the 80s and 90s. Am I wrong on that? No, isn't it? Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Hang on. Maybe I am saying it wrong. No. Generation X is the generation after the baby boomers. You're thinking of Generation Y. I think it's Generation Y, which is after the millennials. Or maybe Generation Y is the millennials. I'm not sure. No, Generation X is the generation that begins after the baby boomer. So it begins about 1966, somewhere in there, and goes till about 1983, 84, somewhere in there. And then the millennials begins in 84 and goes till about 2000, 2001. And then anybody born from 2001 after is like the next generation after the millennials. So I'm a Gen Xer. I'm that in between the millennials and the baby boomers. So, yeah. So yeah, no, you're not correct. Oh, Cody, I thought Generation X was DX from wrestling. I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm an Attitude Era guy. I don't watch wrestling right now, but growing up in the 90s, I watched the Attitude Era. If you smell what McRae is cooking. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me on this Saturday, July the 6th, 2019. I want to thank each and every one of you that tuned in to this Saturday night chit chat. Much appreciated. And thanks to each and every one of you who helped support the channel via your super chats. It is greatly appreciated. A reminder, there is no Two Dudes and Some Bullshit tomorrow night because I am busy. I have a friend coming in from out of town. So Tony and I will not be doing the show tomorrow night, but that's okay because that'll give some extra time for myself to finish season 3 of Stranger Things, and also give some of you who have not seen it but like to tune into the show also to watch it, because the next episode of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit will be talking about season 3 of Stranger Things. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your weekend, and I will be back soon with another video. Thank you again, guys. Much appreciated. You guys rock. Until next time, Jerry Springer, take care of yourselves and each other. Cheers.